power of a product, okay, here's what the rule tells me. It tells me when there are multiple numbers or variables being multiplied inside of parentheses, what we do is we distribute that exponent, okay? So here is what these types of problems will kind of look like. They will look like xy to the third power, okay? So there are two things inside this parentheses. We have two different variables. We have an x and we have a y. And then the exponent is on the outside of the parentheses, okay? And what we need to do is we need to think about this like we distribute the exponent. So we take the exponent and we need to put it on each thing inside the parentheses. So I'm going to make it x to the third power and y to the third power. So this is what the rule tells me. I already know that that's what's the answer going to be. But I want to understand why this makes sense. Well, if I have xy all to the third power, what that really means is xy times xy times xy. Well, if I were to rearrange these x's and y's, which I can do because it's multiplication, if I were to rearrange these, what I would really have is I would have an x, an x, an x, and then a y, a y, a y. Right? If I just rearrange these variables a little bit. Well, three x's, well, that makes x to the third. Three y's, well, that makes y to the third, so that's why this answer makes sense. How great is that? Let's put it into practice a little bit. Problem number 1. I have an a and a b being multiplied together inside of these parentheses with an exponent on the outside. So I need to think about it like distributing. I'm going to take this 8 on the a and take it on the b. So I'm going to get a to the 8th power times b to the 8th power. When I look at number 2, okay, inside my parentheses, I have two things in here. I have this 2 on the top and a y on the bottom. Okay, now it looks a little different because this one is a fraction, but my rule still works. I'm going to take this outside exponent and put it on everything inside the parentheses. So I need to put it on the 2, and I need to put it down on the y. So that will be 2 to the power 6 over y to the power 6. Now, I could simplify this even further, actually, right? Because the top of my exponent up here, it's not a variable, it's a number. So I could actually type that in my calculator and figure it out. 2 to the power 6 is 64. And then since the bottom is a variable, I just need to leave that y to the 6th. And this would be my final simplified answer. This is the kind of stuff you're going to have to do when you get to the CFA, is do multiple steps. Look at number 3. Okay, again, I have a bunch of things inside my parentheses. I have 3 this time. I have a 3, I have a p, and I have a q. So I'm taking my outside exponent and putting it on everything on the inside. So I have 3 to the power 2, p to the power 2, all over q to the power 2. And again, I could simplify this a little bit further because I have a number here. So I can type that in my calculator to figure out what it is. Well, 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to do 9 p to the power 2 all divided by q to the power 2. And that would be my final simplified answer. If I look at number 4, I have 2 things inside of my parentheses. I have a 5 and I have a c. So I'm going to take this outside exponent and put it on each thing. Okay, so that's going to make 5 to the power 4. And then, so I already had c to the power 2, but I need to put another 4 on it. Right? Okay, now let's see if I can simplify this a little bit further. If I look at just my number here, okay, I'm just going to type that part in my calculator. 5 to the power 4 is 625. And then if I look at this part over here, this c squared to the power 4. Oh, look, I have a power to a power. I have this double exponent thing going on. Oh, I had a rule for that, right? We multiply those exponents, so I'm going to go c to the 8th power. Yep, and then this would be my final answer for this question. So I had a couple steps to do, but that would be my final simplified answer. And look how pretty that looks. 625 c to the power 8. Let's try this just one more time with number 5. Look, I have an 8, I have a b, and I have a k. So I'm going to take this outside exponent, put it on each one. So 8 to the power 5. I had a b squared already, but then I need another 5 on it. And then I had a k, and I'm going to put a 5 on it. So if I look at this, I'm going to go one more step. Look at my numbers. 8 to the power 5. Well, that's 32,768. My b has that power to a power thing going on, so I'm going to multiply 2 times 5. Gives me 10, so I got b to the 10. And then k to the 5 at the end. And that would be my final simplified answer.